The story is set in the year 1997 in Japan, about a teenager named Denji who finds himself in a dark blind alley. Suddenly he spots a door and is about to open that, but then he wakes up abruptly realizing that all of that was just running in his subconscious. A baffled Denji sets out to work where he works for Japan's one of the most infamous and influential gangs, Yakuza. The poor guy is greatly indebted as he is always calculating about how much he owes to the notorious gang. However, he is still not very successful in fulfilling his aim, although he has already sold an eye, a kidney, and well, his ping-pongs as well. He has no friends or family except his ever-faithful chainsaw dog devil Pochita. Soon he finds out that nearby there is a carcass of a devil, and he is thoroughly relieved because he knows that a devil's carcass is worth lots of stash. Out of the blue, he finds a tomato devil, and by using Pochita's chainsaw ability cuts through it. Denji presents those devil carcasses to an old man who has hired him and always treats him unfairly, and tells him that he will be paying him 4 lakh yen. But after deducting through his fees, interest and tax, the man tells him that he will be paying him peanuts. That is only 70,000 yen. The hapless guy, after paying all the bills, is left with only 1,800 yen. It is disclosed that Denji's father has borrowed a lot of money from the old man. That's why he has hired Denji to pay his debts. The man prefers Denji because the usual devil hunters never release the carcasses, but Denji is pretty much naive. Next, on reaching home, Denji feasts upon a dried bread and shares it with Pochita as well. He confides to Pochita that how he longs to eat the bread with jam like other people do, and by the time he'll be debt-free, he would have been long dead. A flashback is shown in which a distraught Denji is standing in front of his father's grave, and that vile old man appeared telling him that his father owed him a lot of money. He threatens Denji that if by next day he isn't able to pay 7 lakh yen, then he would be sliced into small pieces. Denji is feeling dejected, but then a chainsaw devil finds him. Denji notices that the devil is badly injured, so he offers it his blood so that he could heal it. However, he strikes a deal with that devil. So with help of the chainsaw devil, he manages to kill devil carcasses for the old man who ends up hiring Denji permanently. Soon Denji and the chainsaw devil become bosom buddies, and Denji names it Pochita. At present, while chatting with Pochita, Denji coughs out blood, revealing that he has inherited a chronic heart disease from his mother. Later, the old gangster tricks Denji into being a bait for the zombie devil as a result of a deal he has made to satisfy Yakuza's hunger for more power, while the zombie devil relishes dead devil hunters due to his strong despise for them. Denji is stabbed from the back, and so is Pochita. The zombie devil sends his army of zombies to finish off poor Denji, who is already injured, and is stabbed mercilessly by those vicious creatures. Thankfully, Pochita is relatively spared by those zombies due to being a devil itself. However, it is thrown in the trash can along with Denji's remains. By chance, Denji's blood reaches Pochita's mouth, and the little devil is resurrected. Pochita remembers how once Denji has told him to fuse its body into his wherever he got killed, and at present, Pochita begins to gather all the pieces of Denji's body, and soon Denji is revived. Next, Pochita exchanges its heart with Denji's, and fuses inside his body, leaving its little tail protruding through Denji's chest. When the zombie devil finds out that Denji is still alive, he is infuriated and sends a sea of zombies to get him. However, Denji is already prepared for them, and then pulls over Pochita's tail. This immediately turns his arms and head into chainsaws, and he begins cutting and chopping those zombies like carrots and cucumbers for a salad. Next, he also tears open the zombie devil into half, thus finishing his case as well. Later, he finds those zombies who were previously Yakuza gangsters, and Denji finishes them, and now he is fully debt-free. The next morning, Makima, a devil hunter with public safety, finds him, and tells him that he smells weird, as he seems neither a complete human nor a full devil. Also, she presumes that all those zombies were killed by Denji. On Denji's request, she hugs him, and Denji returns to his human form. Makima decides to keep Denji as her human pet. Denji is happily sold for a continental breakfast of bread, butter, jam, coffee, and salad. While traveling with Makima, Denji's stomach growls like a hungry wolf. However, Makima assures him that he is under her care. Makima tells Denji that now he is her pet, and he must reply with either yes or a woof. So when Denji's stomach finally growls like a worn-out engine, Makima puts on a coat on his shirtless body and decides to feed him. Never ever being treated in such a way, a starved Denji immediately falls in love with Makima. In the rest area, a fatigued Denji drops unconscious on Makima, and the agitated woman inquires with him about his eerie transformation. Denji narrates the whole story to her about how his devil dog Pochita got infused within his body, and now he shares its heart. Makima finds this whole development is an extraordinary one. Later, Makima spoon feeds Denji to his delight. With a surge of confidence, Denji asks Makima about the type of guys she likes, and the latter takes a pause and answers that she loves Denji type of guys. Soon they reach the devil hunter headquarters at Tokyo, and Makima informs him that in Tokyo there are more than 1,000 devil hunters. She tells him that the job is quite lucrative as it provides many incentives along with a paid vacation. However, Denji's mind is singing its own tune, as Denji only wants to work with Makima in order to get closer to her heart. He is then provided a devil hunter's uniform and is made to work with another devil hunter named Aki. Aki drags Denji and tells him that they have some patrolling to do. However, Denji's heart is stuck on Makima with a hot glue gun, and he refuses to budge. Makima softly reasons with a pouty Denji that she will check his progress. If he works well, then one day she will certainly be working with him. While patrolling, Denji asks Aki whether Makima is hooked. The latter brings him to solace and starts punching him. Aki reprimands him to leave the job if he's not seriously into it. He explains to Denji that for his own good, if he is here for other motives, then he must leave immediately, otherwise he would be killed mercilessly by the devils. Aki narrates to him about the terrifying demise of his friends who joined the devil hunting jobs for money, but sadly lost their lives. Aki advises him to sneak out of here and assures him that he would tell Makima that Denji escaped on seeing a horrifying devil. With this, he coolly begins to leave, when Denji attacks him from behind. A startled Aki falls down on his face. Soon Denji begins to hit Aki, till the latter drops down on his knees. Denji tells him that he is not leaving this job very easily, because he is kind of getting fond of this lifestyle. Also, he is not embracing death any sooner. Later, both the battered lads meet Makima, and the latter is glad that the two are getting along quite well. However, Aki complains that he cannot work with a weirdo like Denji. Makima reveals to Aki that Denji is a half-devil, and he must work under Aki so that the latter can keep an eye on him. Because if Denji decides to resign, then he would be killed as a devil. A satisfied Aki agrees to be Denji's boss. The next morning, Denji is seen having the time of his life by mixing and matching various kinds of jams and gobbling them down with a toast, making a sticky mess everywhere. The following day on a mission, they spot a fiend, which is a devil that takes over a human. Denji ponders that in that case even he can be considered a fiend. Aki tells him that fiends are different. Aki orders Denji to kill the fiend like a devil, and based on that, a verdict will be given whether Denji should be allowed to join devil hunters or not. However, Denji kills the fiend by the help of an axe as he doesn't want to kill that fiend ruthlessly. However, Aki tells him that he has to be ruthless if he wants to kill a fiend because they are similar to devils. Aki reveals that his whole family was killed by a devil. Denji tells him that if a devil is worthwhile, he will definitely befriend it. Aki feels that Denji's case is hopeless, and he leaves. It is then Denji shows his true colors and picks up those mouth-watering adult magazines, because of whom he didn't use his chainsaw to kill the fiend, in order to avoid blood splatters on his newly found treasure. Not only that, after discovering a satisfying life, Denji sets on his lifelong fantasy, which is to touch a woman's melons. It is then Makima assigns him with another partner called Power belonging to Aki's experimental team. As all smaller missions are carried out in two-person teams, so in comes a tiny, feisty, pink-haired fiend with red horns named Power. While patrolling, suddenly Power picks up the scent of a nearby devil and heads after it. With a blow from a hammer she crafted with her own blood, she easily takes out the sea cucumber devil while Denji stares in utter bafflement. Denji decides to put up with an annoying bloodthirsty Power because of the nice melons stuck on her devilish body. Now Power has killed the sea cucumber devil in a restricted area, especially reserved for civilian hunters. The public safety devil hunters must refrain from killing a civilian devil hunter's target, or else will have to pay a penalty. Makima scolds Power to be more careful next time. Denji mentions that Power is a blood devil, and by the help of her blood she can create any weapon. Also, she loses her cool very easily. So he tells Makima that Power is not suitable to become a devil hunter. Power decides to take revenge and tells Makima that Denji told her to seize that sea cucumber. An enraged Denji calls her a liar. Soon the duo begins to bicker uncontrollably. However, when Makima tells them to stop, Power is surprisingly submissive and assures the boss that they can work together. Later, Denji relishes a soft drink and worries how his life would take a reverse gear if Power remains uncontrollable. However, Power is lost in her thoughts while staring at a cat and begins patting it, saying how she prefers cats over humans, and in particular, she hates devils. Power turns a bloodhound on the sniff of blood because she used to be a blood devil before Makima caught her. Later, Power tells Denji about her cat, Meowie, who got kidnapped by a devil, but she couldn't do anything as she was captured by Makima. However, she hasn't given up on Meowie and is adamant to find her once she is out of Makima's prison. Denji feels that it's really stupid to fret for a cat. However, dogs are different and he suddenly remembers Pochita. Sensing Denji's indifference, she promises that she will let him fondle her melons if he helps her find Meowie. Denji's attitude takes a complete U-turn, and he begins to curse that devil who kidnapped the poor feline, and expresses his immense affection for cats. Next, they both take approval from public safety that Denji is allowed to take Power out of the headquarters, as Power is not allowed to roam outside without surveillance as she is a fiend. Power explains that she knows where the devil is. However, Denji is the only that will be able to fight it, as the devil will likely use Meowie as a shield upon seeing Power. Makima is summoned by her higher-ups and informed that all the other countries are recruiting devils in their armies. However, Japan is not at all heeding towards progress. That's why Japan will have a lot of devils after its doom. The higher officials inquire with Makima about her squad, and the latter replies that they are catching up. The higher-ups warn her that all she has to do is to catch them, train them, but not to get too attached with them. Aki couldn't help wondering why Makima is so hopeful about that useless Denji. Makima explains that a devil is usually feared because of its name. For instance, Coffee Devil will be less scary than Car Devil. Similarly, Denji is a terrifying Chainsaw Devil, so he can be useful to the squad in the future. Meanwhile, Power lures Denji to a house and hits him with a hammer. She drags him inside the house where a Bat Devil is waiting for her. He tells her that he thought she might have deceived him and ran away. Power explains how she got trapped and wasn't able to get out that easily. She tells the devil that she has brought him a human, and now he must return Miaoi to her. The Bat Devil looks at Denji's youthful appearance with lust, and remarks that his blood would be so enjoyable. The Bat Devil has lost an arm, and by drinking Denji's blood, wants to generate his arm. However, when he lifts Denji and drains his blood into his mouth, the devil begins to gag, wailing that Denji's blood has such a rotten taste. However, he could visualize the whole city and takes a whiff of their warm and fresh blood of the children around. The devil swallows Miaoi in order to remove that bitter aftertaste. Power can now understand how Denji felt about Pochita, but till then the Bat Devil has swallowed her as well. However, he makes a face as if ingested some sugar-coated tablets. While the devil heads towards the city planning for a sumptuous feast consisting of a virgin, followed by an obese man and then finally an expecting mother, he is surprised to find Denji clinging onto his legs, sucking his blood and demanding to return his melons to him. To the Bat Devil's surprise, Denji turns into a Chainsaw Devil and both parties begin to have a face-off. The Bat Devil is astonished by Denji's compassion for humans despite being a devil, so he picks up a car containing a human and throws it towards Denji, testing him whether he would be blocking the car by the help of his chainsaws and thus killing the human. Denji abruptly transforms into his human form and grabs the car. Meanwhile, the man inside the car jumps out of it, and then Denji tosses the car towards the Bat Devil. Alas, the Bat Devil smashes the car and grabs the driver, ready to pop him inside like candy. However, Denji transforms into a devil and uses his chainsaw to chop and finally kill the Bat Devil. A flashback is shown in which Power's past is shown in which she used to live like a ferocious beast, hunting down animals, beheading them like juice caps and slurping down their blood. She was very much fond of Miaoi, but when the Bat Devil abducted Miaoi and asked for a human as ransom, she frantically ran off from the forest in her natural appearance. However, she quite surprised at her reaction, because she was fattening up Miaoi to devour it herself. But then why such an emotional surge? She abruptly wakes up in Denji's arms and finds Miaoi safely purring beside her. A debilitated Power looks around and finds innards of Bat Devil lying around her. Power is curious why Denji saved her life. Denji shamelessly points to her big melons and Power rolls her eyes, but then she allows him to fulfill his half-witted desire. An electrified Denji jumps, only to get his arm chopped off and eaten by a leech devil, ex-girlfriend of the Bat Devil. A fully weakened Power asks Denji to grab Miaoi and escape, but Denji refuses until, and unless his fantasy is not fulfilled. She is ready to spare his life because now she has eyes only for Denji. Denji questions her about what will happen to Power and Miaoi. The luscious Lady Leech replies that they will meet their end of course. A furious Denji pulls the trigger of his chainsaw, but is unable to transform as he lacks blood. Still, he engages in a fight with the Leech Devil physically, but all his efforts go in vain. The Leech mocks him, saying that how could a weakling like him slay the Bat Devil? The Leech Devil zones out, stating how her boyfriend and she planned a romantic honeymoon after wiping off the whole mankind. Denji states that the only goal in his life is to grope someone's cantaloupes. Even the Leech thinks his dream is nonsensical, and this makes Denji mad with fury and cuts off the Leech's neck with a feeble chainsaw emerging from his forehead, reprimanding at the Leech Devil to check out her own ridiculous dream, and also others as well, as some want to save a cat, some want to save their family. So why can't he live his own fantasy? Soon he grabs an intestine and ties the Leech's legs. Their fight becomes more and more intense with the passing minutes. The Leech Devil lets out a long penetrating tongue and stabs Denji. She is about to gobble up Denji when Aki comes to his rescue and summons a Fox Devil, who firstly cuts off the Leech's head and then asks Aki whether it can swallow the Leech Devil. Aki affirms and reports to his higher-ups that the Leech Devil mission is complete. Next, he asks the rookie devil hunters to finish up the cleaning job and orders Himeno to find other devils. Later, Denji finds himself in a hospital with Aki by his side, who tells him that his arm has been attached to his body easily through blood infusion since Denji's a devil. Denji is curious about Aki's proximity with that Fox Devil. Aki explains that a devil hunter has to form a contract with a particular devil in order to fight other devils. So if he summons the abilities of a Fox Devil, so in return he has to donate some blood to it. For evidence, Aki shows Denji his bandaged arm. Aki then comes to the real issue and asks Denji that through a surveillance camera, he found out that Denji crossed the patrolling area. Aki urges Denji to blurt out whether Power was the one who tricked him and dragged him to the Bat Devil. However, Denji refuses to spill the beans for an obvious reason. Aki has found out from the citizens how the Chainsaw Man has helped him during their times of woes, so he decides to help Denji by closing Power's case. However, he warns him to transform himself and his manners. He fabricates a story to Makima, that how Denji and Power cross the patrolling zone to catch the two devils. Later, to Aki and Denji's misery, Makima sends Power to live with them, and she is a true beast by heart with an awful stench, who dislikes to eat veggies, hates to flush toilets, and doesn't feel a desire to bathe. However, all of Denji's woes are unclogged when Power allows him to fulfill his innermost dippy desire. She tells him that she wants to fulfill his nonsensical desire for 3 reasons. Firstly, he saved Miaoi. Secondly, he killed the Bat Devil. And third, he covered her up in front of Aki. Denji is overwhelmed with a biological urge. A hapless Denji faces the greatest scam of the century when he finds out that Power's melons are nothing but a couple of stuffed paddings. Still, she allows him to touch her mini bumps swiftly, and then keeps on blowing the trumpet that he should be thankful to her for giving him such a mind-blowing experience. The next day, Denji is completely devastated as he finds solace in nothing. He is completely lost while having a meal, and also while patrolling with a rather indifferent Power. Makima notices that Denji is signing off all the documents with a long face. Denji explains that he was running after something for such a long time, and really fought all odds for that. However, when he actually experienced it, he is not sated and feels he is still living in an illusion. When Makima comes to know about Denji's distressed situation, she explains that for a memorable experience like that, 2 people must know each other well. He must know how the person he is interested in feels by touching her fingers and ears. With that, she bites his finger and claims that next time, even blindly, he'll recognize her touch. With that, she places Denji's hand on one of her twins. Denji gets a 1,000-watt bolt of electric shock, and the astounded lad falls off from his chair on the ground. Makima promises him more excitement if he manages to capture the Gun Devil. She explains that the Gun Devil was seen 13 years ago in the USA, and whose current location is unknown, and only Denji can defeat it because he's special. She explains that because of the Gun Devil's emergence, many gang wars started, and numerous terrorist attacks began to surge. She narrates how Aki was younger when all of that was happening, and wanted to place catch with his father, but his father refused as he wanted to look after his younger brother Tio. However, Tayo follows him outside to play with him, but Aki tells him to go inside to cover his hands in order to avoid fever. Tayo agrees, and as soon as he enters the house, Aki hears a huge explosion, and within seconds his whole house is devoured by ruthless flames. Makima continues that on that day, the Gun Devil devoured 12 million lives in 5 minutes and disappeared. For this purpose, new laws have been enforced so that people are not issued gun licenses very easily. She then shows him some bullets saying that they are parts of the Gun Devil's flesh that stick together like magnets. If a piece is devoured by any ordinary devil, it will enjoy immense power, and once all the parts join to become a bigger piece, it will return back to the original source, the Gun Devil. Meanwhile, Aki defeats a fish devil and extracts a Gun Devil's bullet from it. Later, Aki and his 6-member team arrive at Hotel Morin to catch a devil who has killed many devil hunters. It is assumed that the devil might have eaten some pieces of the Gun Devil. Aki confirms this assumption by trying to swing a bullet like a yo-yo, and soon the bullet begins to swing wildly. The other members are quite wary of Denji and Power because of the latter's being a devil and a fiend. However, Aki and Himeno make peace with everyone. Himeno goes beyond by saying that the lucky person to overpower the devil will be awarded a peck on the cheek by Her Highness, but Denji has only Makima in her mind. Himeno lures him with a French kiss, and that actually works wonders, as the cultured lad runs blindly inside the building, followed by a wrathful Hirokazu who has eyes only for Himeno. Soon a head with a hand and a foot comes out, and Himeno grabs it by using her invisible ghost devil's right arm before it attacks Kobeni. However, Power slices the devil into vertical halves. It is revealed that Himeno has a contract with a ghost devil in return for her right eye. To their dismay, the slayed devil is not one who has ingested the Gun Devil's pieces. Next, the whole gang is in for a spine-chilling surprise. Something terrible happens to the team, as they can't go up to the 9th floor, and also when Hirokazu comes downstairs, he finds himself standing on the 8th floor yet again. A horrible realization sinks into the team that they have been trapped on the 8th floor, and also their connection from the outside world has also been cut off. To confirm this, Aki enters a room and finds that he is unable to see the outside view from the window. Denji also finds out that once they come through the window, they land in an opposite window, which leads to the same hallway on the 8th floor. The devil is actually playing garish mind tricks on them. Denji and Power get into a tiff with Denji blaming Power for killing the devil. The team gathers to assess everything that they know about their situation. Besides the windows and the staircase, they also know the elevator is not working, and any attempts to escape only lead them right back to the 8th floor. Denji wonders if what's messing with them now is a curse from the head and foot devil Power killed earlier, but Aki explains that devils do not retain their powers after they die. Himeno asks if the piece of Gun Devil flesh they have has reacted at all, but it's gone dead still, prompting her to think that this may be an elaborate scheme by a different devil. Kobeni is a nervous wreck and begins wailing about how she was forced to take this job, so that her younger brother can pursue higher studies. However, a boorish Power begins to chortle uncontrollably at Kobeni. Himeno consoles Kobeni that all these devils become stronger if they are feared as they feed on their apprehensions. Aki notices that the devil has managed to freeze time as well, as all the clocks have stopped ticking. A forever relaxed Denji goes to sleep, instructing them to wake him up if something exciting happens. Himeno jerks him up, saying that while the electricity and power seem to work, they have yet to locate the devil responsible. Everyone seems tired, but still, Aki refuses to stop his search. Kobeni has recently passed out, while Hirokazu has a panic attack. The only other person who seems to be doing okay is Power, who is thriving, all things considered. A jittery Hirokazu has locked himself up in a room out of horror. The team members lose their marbles with Kobeni about to drink toilet water, and Power begins to jabber about how she wants to win a Nobel Prize and will become a prime minister one day. Denji assures Aki and others that Power is one of her kind, and usually has brain-wrecking spells. The three of them decide to take turns watching Kobeni and Hirokazu. While outside their room, Denji notes that Himeno smokes the same brand of cigarettes as Aki. She says this is because she's the one who introduced him to smoking. Later, Himeno narrates how she taught Aki to smoke, by telling him that he doesn't have to worry about his health and early death because the gun devil will come after him soon. A flashback is shown in which has a younger version of both Aki and Himeno, where she first tries to coax him into smoking. She knows that he joined public safety to get revenge on the gun devil for killing his family, and if he plans to die so soon anyway, he might as well smoke. He says he doesn't plan on dying anytime soon, which she appreciates because she knows from experience that it can be a pain when your partners die. Aki witnesses that firsthand when the girlfriend of an old accomplice takes out her anger on Himeno in front of a convenience store and slaps her. Although Himeno is used to this sort of treatment, Aki still takes his petty revenge on that lady by sticking a bubblegum on her hair. Also, it is shown how Himeno slowly and gradually carved a romantic place within Aki's heart. This is evident when they both share a cigarette to Denji's chagrin, who protests that they both are lip-locking indirectly. Aki breaks the bad news to them that the miniature head devil has transformed into a gigantic mass of goo, and proposes a deal that it will spare the lives of all devil hunters if they kill Denji for him. Kobeni readily grabs a dagger and heads to kill Denji, however Aki and Himeno pin her down. All devil hunters are in favor of handing over Denji due to his reckless behavior, except Himeno and Aki, as they feel that the devil has a motive behind killing Denji. Aki decides to summon the fox devil but is unable to, because all their connections from the outside world are cut. Himeno manages to do some damage with her ghost arm, but the devil begins to grow more. The group begins discussing the possibility of sacrificing Denji. If they accept the devil's contract, he will have to keep up his end of the bargain, lest he dies. Hirokazu points out that if they don't sacrifice Denji, they will likely starve here, but Aki says no. If the devil wants Denji, he will probably benefit from said death somehow, and they can't have that. Aki decides to fight back with the help of his sword, but Himeno refrains him for doing so as this will slash years out of his lifespan. After discovering that Power ate what meager food they had left, Kobeni decides this must be Power's fault because she is a fiend. When Hirokazu defends her, Kobeni accuses him of being a spy. The sound of her screaming as she launches toward Hirokazu attracts the attention of the devil in the hallway. He begins expanding toward the room, prompting Himeno, Aki, and Denji to run as he declares himself the Eternity Devil. Himeno apologizes as Hirokazu holds Denji down. Kobeni rushes forward to stab him, only to stab Aki as he barely manages to put himself in front of Denji. Considering he cannot kill the gun devil on his own, Aki needs the help of other people like Denji, who are crazy enough to fight him. For that reason alone, he refuses to let Denji die. While Himeno stares in shock, Power attempts to use her abilities as the Blood Devil to help Aki. However, Denji realizes that it is really intimidated by Denji's chainsaw ability, so he decides to seize that opportunity for the sake of Aki. Denji gives a blood-warming speech about why he should slay the Eternal Devil and reminds Himeno of her promise if he returns alive. With that, he pulls the chainsaw trigger and jumps into the mouth of the Eternal Devil. Denji gets swallowed by the Eternal Devil and begins to chop it like boiled potatoes. However, in this process, he himself gets injured and loses pints of blood. The devil keeps on sneering at Denji that no matter what he does, he cannot kill it as its heart is not within Denji's reach and is not on the 8th floor. Himeno, Kobeni, and Hirokazu watch Denji fight in a combination of horror and awe, realizing for the first time that he is part devil. Although holding his own, Power and Aki worry that Denji is losing too much blood while making little real progress. If he loses too much blood, his chainsaws will retract, leaving him defenseless. Now, in order to maintain his chainsaw ability, he begins to drink the icky blood of the Eternal Devil and continues to fight it. In a flashback, Himeno remembers her senior Kishibe, telling her that devils are usually intimidated by someone who are cracked eggs or have loose screws. He told her that sensible men usually get scared easily, that's why they are readily killed. Himeno then offered Aki to be a civilian hunter to join her. However, Aki refused. Now Aki is brave but a sensible young man. That's why Himeno knows that he may not be suitable to overcome the gun devil. At present, the Eternal Devil manages to etch out a worn-out Denji, but Himeno uses her ghost arm to pull out the chainsaw trigger. A hysterical Denji keeps on drinking the devil's blood, and gets recharged every time to make a fresh ambush on the Eternal Devil. Himeno checks out Denji's lunacy and realizes that Denji is the only one who can kill the Gun Devil. 3 days pass by, and a maniacal Denji keeps on battling the Eternal Devil. Finally, an exhausted Eternal Devil presents his heart to Denji and pleads desperately to get slayed. Denji kills it immediately, and in no time they all manage to come out of that hotel. Denji exclaims that he discovered a bullet from the Eternal Devil's remains. Soon a fatigued Denji falls on Himeno's lap, so both Aki and Denji are taken to the hospital by Power, and Himeno, while Kobeni and Hirokuza are told to report to the headquarters. Himeno plans to have a freshers party so that all freshers can meet their seniors, and also they need to resolve some issues because Kobeni and Hirokazu are planning to resign as they are guilty of going against Denji. Aki instructs her to hold the party the following week so that even Makima can join, as she would be leaving for Kyoto after that. Himeno wonders that there is some secret about Denji which the Eternal Devil knew, and also Makima, because she usually pays special attention to him and is keeping a vigilant eye on him. Later, the whole team has a party where they eat, drink, and get involved in a lot of crazy endeavors. Denji reminds Himeno of her promise, and the latter tells him to wait for the right moment. Denji introduces himself as a 16-year-old whose hobbies are eating and sleeping. Hirokazu mentions that he also has a contract with the Fox Devil. Himeno explains that a Fox Devil is very friendly and easy to mingle with, plus it usually chooses handsome heads. Someone mentions that Himeno has kissed nearly everyone except newbies, so now Denji will be her startup for the fresh batch. Denji is all excited about his first smooch when Makima comes along to Denji's abashment. Soon there is a booze drinking competition between Aki, Makima, and Himeno, which of course is won by guess who? A dead drunk. Himeno remembers the promise she made to Denji for a kiss, grabs him and stuffs her lips onto his. Denji is a little hesitant because Makima is also watching them. However, he begins to enjoy his treat when suddenly Himani retches out into his mouth, to everyone's disgust. The others laugh at his misfortune, especially Power, who informs them that Denji will swallow just about anything. In the bathroom, Hirokazu attempts to help Denji throw up. He appreciates that he can do this much for Denji, as he is jealous of his abilities. Denji finds it ironic that Hirokazu feels that way, considering his first kiss just involved getting puke in his mouth, and he will remember that awful incident as long as he lives. As everyone gets ready to leave, Makima wonders where Denji is, when someone informs her that Himeno carried him away on her back. A while later, Denji wakes up confused and looking for water. So when Himeno finally regains consciousness that night, stumbling into the bedroom, she finds Denji asking for water. She presses their lips together, transferring beer from her mouth into his and abruptly waking him. Although she carried him here, she seems too drunk to remember doing so, and is confused by his presence. It doesn't stop her from teasing him and bad-mouthing Makima, lamenting how both he and Aki seem to be crazy about her. She then asks Denji if he would like to do it with her. Himeno begins removing his shirt. He's torn on whether or not he should indulge Himeno when he already planned to have his first time with Makima, but is about to go through with it until Himeno finds something in his pocket. It's a lollipop Makima gave him earlier that night when he vented to her about his disastrous first kiss. She says that while Denji will probably never forget the taste of spew in his mouth, nothing happens between Denji and Himeno, as in the end, Himeno passes out while Denji stares at the lollipop in his hand. He apologizes to Pochita for not doing it yet, but he's already promised to save his first time for Makima. The next morning both have breakfast normally, and then Himeno tells him that she remembers nothing about last night, and she really hopes she hasn't done anything substantial with him. Denji assures her that he has an ironclad willpower, and wouldn't have done anything with a girl specializing in spewing up. He is candid enough to point out that he is saving himself for Makima. Himeno is relieved because otherwise the police would have arrested her for screwing an underage lad. Himeno points out that Denji is quite strange because even after all the strange events, he is acting like nothing has happened. Denji points at the breakfast table and says that only a fool will leave all that free food. Himeno wonders if he would still love Makima if he found out she had a bad personality, but he only doubles down on his affections. Himeno promises to help Denji hook up with Makima, and in turn asks him to help her out with Aki. Both agree to help each other achieve major love goals in their lives. Later, Makima is all set to travel to Kyoto to meet her bosses on a train, but before her train hits a tunnel, she is tragically shot down along with others. The assassins then call someone and inform them that the operation must begin. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to various members of the Special Division 4, all out on different missions. At each location, civilians pull out guns, attempting to shoot the devil hunters, and only Aki, Power, Himeno, and Denji are left. Oblivious to their surroundings, they are having ramen at a shop when Denji hears some gunshots, but Power tells him to enjoy his food. A strange man expresses his surprise that how can Denji enjoy such stale and tasteless ramen, but then he knows that all his life Denji has eaten crap to enjoy fine dining. To Denji's astonishment, the stranger reveals that he is the grandson of the same Yakuza old man, who Denji killed some time ago and has come to take his revenge. He suddenly shoots Denji on his head and Himeno on her chest. Power punches him real hard, and Aki immediately summons the Fox Devil, and the Fox Devil swallows the stranger. But the man transforms into Katana Man, who is very similar to Denji's chainsaw formation, but has swords in place of chainsaws on his head and arms. Katana Man cuts himself out from the Fox Devil. Aki asks Power to stop the blood flow of Himeno, and then pulls out his sword, which is a large nail, and overpowers Katana Man by the help of a curse devil with 2 heads. Aki wonders that only police officers and devil hunters are allowed to hold guns. So how come the Katana Man was an exception, when suddenly a strange girl named Akane appears and resurrects Katana Man? Katana Man attacks Aki from behind and knocks him down. A frail Himeno makes a contract with the Ghost Devil to let her use the whole body, and in return she will sacrifice herself. Himeno knows that Aki will definitely weep for her once she dies. Akane then summons Snake Devil, who bites off the Ghost Devil, defeating it. Aki watches in horror as gradually Himeno vanishes in thin air. It is revealed that Akane and Katana Man are after Denji's heart. That's why when Katana tells her that Power has escaped, Akane tells him that she was useless anyway. The Ghost Devil uses his hand to pull Denji's chain, and immediately Denji is resurrected into Chainsaw Man, who has no idea what is going on in his surroundings, but also he hilariously realizes how much he adores bad guys, as when he kills them, no one files a complaint. Both engage in a matchless battle, and then Akane summons some of her men to help out. Soon 2 thugs arrive to support Katana, and he asks both of them to shoot at Denji's arms or heart. However, Denji overpowers them all, but Katana Man comes from behind and cuts Denji into half. Katana comes to his normal self and picks up Denji's upper half. He is certain that up till now all his other devil hunter friends might have been killed off. Soon it is shown that all Division 4 devil hunters, including Hirokazu, are killed. Meanwhile, on the train to Kyoto, Makima is resurrected and kills the shooters. Meanwhile, on the Kyoto station, 2 young devil hunters, Yutaru and Tendu, who are told by an informant that all devil hunters of Divisions 1 to 2 to 3 and 4 are killed along with Makima. Both are greatly disappointed because for hours they have been waiting for her. It is then a train stops in front of them and a very much alive Makima in blood-stained clothes comes out of the train. Both Tendu and Yutaru are surprised to see her alive. She tells them to dispose of the bodies strewn inside the train. The youngsters are surprised to see the shooters brutally killed with their hearts ripped off. Tendu and Yataru advise Makima to head to Tokyo. However, Makima tells them that it will be too late and they have to start their operation in Kyoto. She then leads them to a specially hired temple situated at a great height, along with 30 convicts of life sentences who are fed and treated well. Soon the convicts are brought to the shrine, oblivious to their upcoming fates. Meanwhile, one of Katana's men senses something eerie going on. He stares at a crow caulking wildly and suddenly his head shrinks and then suddenly explodes. Akane immediately contacts a person from Team E and asks him to find out whether Makima is dead. The latter man tells her that he is unable to contact the members of Team C, and in no time even that man explodes. All the convicts along with Yataru and Tendu are blindfolded before Makima performs a ritual forming bonds with her devil. Yataru reasons that Makima's connections with various devils is kind of a private affair. Makima keeps on rotating her hands, asking each of the convicts to repeat a particular name. Soon, that person bearing the name shatters into pieces. Meanwhile, Katana asks his men to put Denji in the car, but before that, the man bursts into an ugly splatter of blood and flesh. Soon, all the thugs are killed except Akane and Katana. When Yataru and Tendu are able to see, they find all the 30 convicts lying lifeless, and a relieved Makima tells them to head to Tokyo. Meanwhile, Kobeni comes to confront Akane and her gang, and dodges their attacks successfully. She then cuts off the arm of a weakened Katana Man, and manages to pull out Denji. Akane flees with the Katana Man. Kobeni apologizes to Denji for her previous behavior as she cries along with a nervous chortle. She tells Denji how a roguish old woman was about to shoot her, but then Kobeni grabbed her and shot her instead. She vows that whenever she'll meet Himeno, she will tell her that she is resigning. The poor girl doesn't know that day will never rise again. Meanwhile, Officer Madoka tells Makima in Tokyo that the remaining hunters of Division 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be under her control now. And with that, he hands her his resignation, as he doesn't want to die yet. Even Yataru and Tendu are apprehensive about being hunters. However, Makima invites them for dinner at a fancy restaurant. Aki wakes up in a hospital bed only to find Power and Denji fighting over an apple like Kilkenny cats. Denji taunts Power that she fled from the scene when she was needed. However, Power fabricates a lie that she was starving. That's why she ran. Now it can be assumed that since Denji is a half-devil, he might have been revived easily by the help of Kobeni. Aki ignores their fights and inquires that how many people are left from Division 4. Denji replies that only Kobeni and Madoka, and the latter reigned from the job. Soon Denji leaves an apple for Aki and leaves. Aki draws out his sword and asks the Cursed Devil about how much time he has left. The Cursed Devil replies that Aki has only 2 years to live. Soon he lights up a cigarette, and immediately painful memories of Himeni begin to strike Aki, and he begins to cry. However, Denji catches Aki crying while on the doorstep, and wonders why he is unable to shed tears on Himeno's demise. He knows that he will definitely feel nothing if that nutcracker Power will get knocked down. But with Aki and Makima, maybe he'll live some days of solace, but then will return to normal immediately. This is because now, he has a heart of a devil. Later, Makima brings both Power and Denji to a graveyard and tells Denji that it seems that all the devils out there are here to get Denji. Denji assumes that she is here to train them for the upcoming challenges, but instead she introduces them to Himeno's mentor, Kishibe, who first interviews those two jokers. He asks them how they feel about their colleagues' deaths and if they want to avenge their deaths. After a short pause, both refute in unison. Next, he inquires with them whether they are on Devil's side or the humans. Denji tells him that whoever will take care of him, he will take their side, while Power chooses the winning side, whoever they may be. After being satisfied by their indifferent attitude towards life, he agrees to train them and asks Makima to leave. Kishibe asks them to call him master and hugs them so tightly that they are literally strangled and fall on the ground. Kishibe has a versatile approach of torturing his students in order to bring out the best in them. Kishibe adds that although they are devils, they still have weak human bodies that can be easily revived through fresh blood. He reasons that Makima has told him that the gun devil is after Denji's heart. That's why it is his duty to make Denji strong, though he has never trained devils before. He challenges them to defeat him since he claims to be the strongest devil hunter. So when they both try to attack him, a fully vigilant Kishibe slays them swiftly. Meanwhile, Yataru and Tendo visit Aki and advise him to resign, as now he doesn't have much time left to live. In his hospital room, Aki tries to summon the Fox Devil, but it will not answer, likely for having abused its power. Yutaro observes that Aki can still use his Curse Devil at least, and Aki soon realizes what they are really here for. Yutaro and Tendu have come to provide job consultation to Special Division 4. They tell Aki that if he stays on, he'll have to make contracts with even stronger devils in order to contribute. Considering the Gun Devil is still out there, Aki has no intention of quitting. As Yutaru and Tendu leave, they notice a young lady visiting Aki, but her face is towards Aki. Kishibe, Power, and Denji train late into the night. They both seem terribly exhausted, and Denji wonders just how many times he was killed that day. Power estimates to be around 20 times, but she can't be sure, as she was generally unconscious at those times. As they head home dejected, they try to find a way to handle their situation. In the end, they decide that since they are not strong enough to defeat Kishibe, they will fight him using their brains instead. The next day, Denji and Power adorn goggles in an effort to look smarter as they plan to attack Kishibe. Power throws a blood spear at him the moment he tries to open the door and misses. She repeatedly attacks him with blood spears but misses every time. While he's distracted, Denji attempts to attack Kishibe, only to be thwarted. Once they're both overpowered, Kishibe explains why they lost but applauds their efforts before leaving for the day. Just before he makes it down the hall, he turns and throws a knife into Denji's skull, warning him never to trust anything a devil hunter says. Meanwhile, as Yutaru, Tendu, and Aki travel into the basement prison where public safety keeps the devils they've captured, they explain to Aki that making a deal with a stronger devil also means a more demanding contract. As they walk the halls, Yutaro wonders if the lady who visited Aki in the hospital was his girlfriend. He reveals that it was actually Himeno's younger sister. She gave him letters from Himeno. In the letters, Himeno often wrote to her sister about Aki. Back in the basement, Yutaru stops in front of a door and tells Aki he is going to contract with the future devil, located inside that room. Two other devil hunters already have contracts with it, but at the cost of half their life, or most of their senses. Soon, Aki walks into the cell and stands face to face with the future devil. Aki meets the future devil who emerges from the darkness, and is a towering, menacing creature made up of a humanoid tree body, with an eye located inside a hole in his abdomen. He spreads his arms wide and eerily keeps on chanting future rules while making quirky dance moves. He also invites Aki to join him with his dance routines, but Aki ignores him. The future devil asks Aki to put his head into the hole in his stomach. Aki complies and the future devil agrees to form a contract with him, as it really wants to see Aki's amusing death ahead. With a pompous laugh, the future devil says all he wants is to live inside Aki's right eye in exchange for using his power. He asks Aki if he wants to know how he dies, telling him it will rule and getting to experience it is what makes the cost of the contract so low. Aki declines and offers up his eye, as all he is interested in is taking out his targets. Denji and Power continue to train with Kishibe, and despite struggling, he compliments their improvement. As a reward, he reduces their training time to their great relief. Before leaving, he tells them they'll be going on a mission as a way to commence this new Division 4. Their mission will be to defeat Akane and Katana Man. This mission will be a make-it-or-break-it test for the division, and if they fail, Kishibe will get to kill Power, and Denji personally. Denji jokes that should that happen, he'll take mercy on Kishibe. Since training together, he's gotten stronger and will not lose his chance to hook up with Makima now. That night, Makima and Kishibe meet for dinner. She asks how things are going with Power and Denji. He claims to be irritated by them, but that is only because he has grown attached to them in a way he wasn't expecting. He then accuses her of knowing about the attack on Division 4 all along and doing nothing to prevent it. When she falters, he reveals that he has no intention of stopping her as long as her main goal is human safety. Although when she claims it is, he still accuses her of being a liar. Somewhere in an office building, Akane, Katana Man, and several accomplices hide out, afraid to be found out by Makima. Still, They refuse to back down completely and have already devised a plan to take out the public safety devil hunters when they finally find them. Underneath the building is a crowd of zombies made up of people who never paid their debts to Katana Man's old gangster grandfather. Akane warns the accomplices not to get bitten by one, or they will also become zombies. In a large isolated house, Makima meets with the Yakuza boss in charge of Katana Man and Akane. He assures her the attacks were not on his orders, giving up Akane immediately. She got them into deals with the Gun Devil, where he gives them guns in exchange for 20,000 yen. Makima requests the names of everyone he knows to be in a contract with the Gun Devil, to which the Yakuza boss easily agrees. However, he refuses to give her the names of people not in his family, as it could start a war between opposing families. Makima pulls a bag, and it is filled with the eyes of the loved ones of every gang member in the room. If they cooperate, she promises someone will be able to return them. Still, one of the men in the back tries to hit her anyway. Before the swing can land, Makima locks eyes with him, and the man's nose soon begins to bleed before he falls to his knees. The police and Division 4 surround the office building Akane and Katana Man are hiding in, ready to begin their raid. Kishibe tells the group they don't have much of a set plan, but does, however. He goes to warn the police about how to interact with the new Division 4, as most of the unit is made up of non-humans. Those are Beam, Princi, Galgali, and the Angel Devil. A man tries to shoot Aki, but Angel Devil uses its wings to protect him. Aki declares his group can leave the zombies to the fiends so they can find Katana Man and Akane. As Aki explores the office building halls, various accomplices run out, attempting to shoot him. He manages to take out one and prepares to take on another group, but then suddenly, their noses begin to bleed, and they all fall to their knees. On reaching the 4th floor, Aki finally finds Akane alone, telling her to come along quietly. She instead summons the Snake Devil, who spits out the Ghost Devil. Akane's nose bleeds slightly as she orders the Ghost Devil to kill Aki, but he manages to block her multi-arm attack by using the Future Devil's foresight powers to predict their movements briefly. Still, her dozens of arms overwhelm Aki as one takes hold of his neck. Soon Akane commands the Ghost Devil to choke Akane to death. So when Aki is being strangled by the Ghost Devil, he loses consciousness and flashbacks to the moment when Himeno offered Aki his first cigarette. He was too young to smoke then, but she said she would save it until he was older. Suddenly, Aki finds himself on the ground in front of the Ghost Devil, who presents him with a cigarette on which is written, "Easy Revenge." He remembers Himeno telling him once that a Ghost Devil doesn't have eyes. Aki makes a final strike and beheads the devil. Akane is about to summon a Snake Devil, but Kobeni places a dagger on her neck in order to stop her. In an elevator, Power and Denji continue to search for Katana Man. Meanwhile, Power is up to her usual lunatic acts when she's gnawing a zombie's arm like some barbecued rib to Denji's disgust, and he's relieved to kick her out of the elevator to fight a sea of zombies. He continues to ride in the elevator alone, which leads him to the floor where Katana Man and 2 henchmen are waiting. They claim they will surrender if Denji makes amends for the friends he killed, but he refuses, as he does not care about the zombies' lives. Katana Man attempts to make him feel guilty, but it does nothing to change Denji's mind as he turns into Chainsaw Man and tackles Katana Man out of the window. The two begin to battle, jumping from building top to tear one another apart. They end up on top of a moving train where Denji admits he only cares about this job to maintain his current lifestyle. Katana Man clearly doesn't respect his logic, attacking him again before tackling him through the roof of the train bogie. As passengers flee, Denji attempts to save a woman, resulting in his arm being chopped off. While trying to catch his breath, Katana Man swiftly slices off his other arm as well. Assuming Denji can no longer fight, Katana Man asks Denji to beg for forgiveness before Katana could kill him. Denji refuses, charging at Katana Man with the one remaining chainsaw on his head. The situation seems critical when Denji's chainsaw breaks after one attack, but Katana Man does not realize Denji was able to produce a chainsaw from his leg, allowing him to slice the man in half. Katana Man gains consciousness tied to train tracks, where Denji berates him for killing Himeno while they wait for the cops. As Aki walks up, Denji asks if he would like to make a contest of torturing Katana Man while they wait. Aki refuses, saying that is not something they do, which surprises Denji. But after pulling out Himeno's cigarette again, Aki seems to change his mind, asking what he gets if he wins. Soon, Aki and Denji engage themselves in a tournament of kicking Katana's ping-pongs with their might. The cops arrive on the scene to arrest everyone involved. In a room with the higher-ups, Makima briefs them on precisely what happened and who was involved. She says that Akane and her accomplices were after Chainsaw Man's heart, but before they could ask why she used the Snake Devil to commit suicide. They also seized a lot of Gun Devil's flesh from the building, and when they combined it with the 5kg they had, the new large piece finally started to move towards the Gun Devil itself. Denji has that recurring dream of being in that back alley, and Pochita warning him never to open a certain door.